As I approach this village just outside of Mangochi in Malawi, the women are singing my name. Two feelings move through me. The first is a feeling of joy. Years of returning and working with Judith Mapanga and the Mwanza support group have created trust. The other feeling is one of responsibility. These women now see me in the way that they have always seen my mother, Catherine Chippembere. They believe that my return represents new possibilities for the future, and I don't want to let them down. We sing and dance together, focusing on hope and change, because suffering must also have an end. One idea we've had to put an end to the suffering in the villages where WIN Malawi continues to work is to help people learn new methods of farming through the study of permaculture. We'll check in with 3 farmers, Haji Sabiti, Raphael Limited, and Judith Mapanga, who all studied with Lawayo and Grace Biswick in 2023 at Permaculture Paradise, to see what they've been able to do with their new knowledge. First, we must know what they've been battling here in Malawi. According to an article from the website France 24, written by Cyril Cabot, the combined effects of cyclones and droughts, worsened by climate change, have led to widespread food insecurity in Malawi. While some adaptation efforts are emerging in this agriculture-dependent country, they have yet to gain traction on a larger scale. Cyclone Freddy, which hit Malawi from February 4 to March 24, 2023, was the longest-lasting tropical cyclone on record, lasting 36 days. Then, early this year, came El Niño, an extreme drought which forced Malawi, Zambia, and Zimbabwe to declare a state of disaster in March of 2024. Malawi is one of the top 5 countries affected by climate change on the planet. Malawi produces less than 0.01% of the world's emissions. It is one of the countries least responsible for climate change, but it's one of the most affected by it. The building you see behind these children is where they once went to school. It was destroyed by Cyclone Freddy.
Anakangarana tisokoneza mutaimi nabwera kuledi uja timaphunzitsira malo ano ndiye pachiyambeni kuphunzitsa malo ano pamene inabwera mvula yochuluka ija tinasamukanso timaphunzitsira pansi pa mtengo ndiye panopa ana tawerusa cham'manaini muja malingana ndikuti ndikutenthaku ndi malo amene tikuphunzitsira timakhala zovuta chakudya tinalibe.
One of WIN's mandates is that every child who comes to school must receive a hot meal in the morning. Usually, this is porridge. But what happens when there's a cyclone and food becomes scarce? This is where permaculture steps in. Haji Sabiti was able to achieve great things with the help of new ideas from permaculture training, in addition to a solar pump donated to his village by an NGO from Europe. I was able to speak with him and see his results a year or so after training.
Tinakaphunzira ulimi wa makono, wogulisa ntchito ndrama zochepa, wogulisa ntchito zipangizo zomwe zikupezeka ku dera lathu.
As we walked to Haji's farmland, I saw the results of the drought. Barren land everywhere. Even the fish pond, where I'd seen a dam years before, was dried out. Then out of nowhere, like an oasis, we were on Haji's land. He showed me bright green okra, red chili peppers. There was a man with a hose right there in the middle of nowhere. Haji showed me hibiscus, which is not traditionally grown in Mangochi. They were able to bring in seeds from their classes in Mchinji. Haji had one of his farmers pull 2 cucumbers from the ground. It was hot, and I was able to cool off a bit by eating one right there on the spot. They walked me over to the water containers, which are part of the system they use with their solar pump, which is kept way down in the ground. The system's totally impressive. They even brought over a few watermelons from their fields, which I was able to purchase to share with children at a WIN school. Our next step was Talia Village. We loaded up the car with a couple of bags of maize for the new chief to give to the children. He sat between Jonathan and I and welcomed us. I was surprised that he was a young man. He walked us over to the WIN school. COVID and climate crisis had kept me away from here for 3 years. It was good to reconnect, but I could see the building was damaged by the cyclone and the children were hungry having just arrived. It may have been 24 hours since their last meal. Often, the meal provided by WIN is the only one they have.
Ine mwanga ngatine mphunzitsi wa pasukulu pano kwa Dalia zinanga ndine limited Dickson. Mavuto apa pasukulu pano tilinawo ambiri kwambiri. Endi pasukulu pano timasowekera muna chibuloko chophunzitsirana. Endi nyengo zambiri mwina nthawi ya mvula ana amalephera muna kuphunzira ifo kuti pophunzirana amakhala kuti palibe. Ndeno timafuna kuti chothandiza kwambiri buloko mutithandize komanso ana pasukulu pano ndiona zoti samadya.
Raphael Limited is both a teacher and a farmer working with WIN at Talia Village. His school was affected by the cyclone in one season, and his crops were affected by the drought in the next season. Life has been tough in this village. Raphael took us on a walk to see his fields. He learned composting while studying at Permaculture Paradise, and it has helped him grow crops while others have given up because they couldn't afford fertilizer. He taught all who would listen. Raphael's crops are not growing like Haji's. His water source has dried out after the rains. He wasn't able to move the water around because he doesn't have a solar pump like Haji. The difference is stark. We need to get Raphael and Talia Village a pump. Judith Mapanga also went for training.
Tikaphunzitsaso makolo kuti azita ukalimbikira kulima zape makacha zoti ulimi wachikalekale ucha ubwerere waso pano peti makulindi waso pano uthe kuti anthu azipeza kupeza zakudya zambiri kulima zambiri pamalo amodzi.
She's teaching composting along with our director in the field, Jonathan Marama. Judith is suffering from the same issue facing all of our villages. The lack of water means they must draw it out in new ways to be effective as farmers. The solar pump is being requested everywhere. It's the difference between starvation and success in many of the villages of this region. What I learned on this journey is that the best way to help these children is not just to teach their elders permaculture. In Mangochi, our farmers and teachers need resources in order to feed the children's bodies and minds. They're counting on WIN and our friends around the globe to help out.